This is my first video of the 2020s. My guest is Laura Lynn Thompson here in the Vancouver area. How are you doing, Laura Lynn?
I am doing so well. Thanks for having me on, Brian. So I might not have my job anymore, but I'll tell you what I have.
It should be noted here that Laura Lynn has falsely claimed for years that she lost her job at Vision TV and the 700 Club Canada because she spoke up against transgender policies in schools and society, such as SOGI 123. Upon contacting the 700 Club Canada, they completely denied her advocacy with SOGI 123 or anything else caused her to be let go. As can be seen in the following letter, they made it clear that as her job was demanding, it required all of her attention, and they did not feel that she could do her activism and the show and maintain the quality that they needed. So here's an excerpt from the letter. We do stand with Laura Lynn on her advocacy. We stood with her and supported her for 10 months while she began this battle. She was not fired because of her involvement with SOGI 123. Her contract was up for renewal, and as we look to the future, we all recognize that she could not continue to host a daily TV show with our ministry and be fully invested in battling SOGI 123.
So I might not have my job anymore, but I'll tell you what I have. Satisfaction. That I have stood. That I have refused to bow to cultural Marxism.
That we will do a better job of supporting everybody.
Things getting...
Somebody keep this person away from me. Here. Further away.
I've had more fun in the last 2 years sticking it to the wrong side of this position. For fun.
You released a video, and that subsequently landed you here at the courts. You had some police officers show up at your home. Can you tell us about what happened there?
It really is unbelievable. So the judge had stated that I needed to take down the videos, and so I didn't do it fast enough for lesbian lawyer Barbara Finley. She calls herself that. She actually adds in ugly, cisgender, fat lesbian lawyer position. For fun, running in 2 federal elections and boldly declaring to huge, crowds that I stand against gender fluid teaching in schools and having applause.
Why be you when you could be moi?
I did vote for Maxime Bernier myself, so you did a great job. So who cares if you win or lose, man? You made a difference, Laura.
I really do believe that. And my Twitter went way up. And my Facebook, account went up, and my YouTube watchers went up. All for what? For being hated, for being reviled by the LGBTQ activists,
There is no lack of freedom for any of you LGBTQ in Canada. There is no lack. Canada is not all about you. You may not tell our 5-year-olds that their sexual organs can be removed.
Okay, so here we have Laura Lynn doing what she has done so many times, which is repeatedly telling the same lie. And it should be noted that Laura Lynn is not only a professional grifter, she is a pathological liar, and she tells the same lie over and over again. This one here is where she is in public talking to a crowd, telling them that 5-year-olds are being told that they should have their sexual organs removed. Now, I am unaware of any case outside of medical necessity, in one case involving the notorious Dr. John Money back in the 1960s, but I am unaware of any child that age ever having their sexual organs removed. There's not a single case of that ever happening in Canada. And Laura Lynn knows this because she used to tour with me when I first started doing my activism before I knew who and what she was. And she would have heard me presenting all the statistics and repeatedly telling people that the removal of sexual organs of minors was not happening in Canada at all, ever, anywhere. There may be some cases where young girls, teenage girls, older teenage girls may have had double mastectomies, which is bad. I strongly condemn it, but it's relatively uncommon. But it does happen, and when it does happen, it is happening against the recommendations of WPATH, the Endocrine Society, and all the major governing and regulating bodies. So that is something that should be taken up with the individual doctors, where it can be shown that that has taken place because it is against the guidelines. The official guidelines out of WPATH for transgender care stipulate quite clearly, and the Endocrine Society also says this, that neither top and especially not bottom surgery should be performed on anybody under the age of 18. And as far as I know, that policy is followed pretty well most of the time. There are enough cases that have happened in the United States, particularly, where doctors have overlooked those guidelines and done particularly top surgeries on girls, in some cases as young as 14, but again, those very young ages are very rare. But they have happened in the United States, and I'll acknowledge that. But genital surgery is almost unheard of. Like I say, I've never heard of a single case of any minor having genital surgery performed on them in Canada. There may have been a few cases in the States that I'm not aware of. But like I say, all of the cases where it did happen, and we're aware of one clinic in California where it's happened too many times, it has been against the express guidelines of all the governing bodies. But genital surgery on minor males in Canada is unheard of. It's never happened that I'm aware of. And the cases that have happened in the States have tended to be very close to the legal age, such as the case with Jazz Jennings, who had it done, I believe, just before Jazz's 18th birthday, and it was a scheduling issue, so they allowed it to happen early. So it's very uncommon for genital surgery in boys. So to imply that minor males, let alone 5-year-olds, are having their genitals removed is just hyperbolic nonsense. And the reason she does it is to push buttons in order to get donations. But as I'll show here in this brief clip, it's a lie she keeps telling over and over again.
All of the ramifications, the health risks that you are putting your child in, leading to gender affirming surgery. When you cut your little boy's penis off and you give him permission and you're, oh, I have a transgender child. That thing does not grow back. When you cut your little boy's penis off, that thing does not grow back.
So again, nobody's cutting off the penises of little boys. This is deliberately deceptive emotional button pushing. And I have told her specifically that the other side of this debate will just use it against us to prove ignorance or deception. I've never said that, I've never suggested that, and I have condemned every instance of anybody claiming that that happens.
We want people to be safe. We want them to find love. We want them to find hope, peace, identity. Yes.
You may not tell our 5-year-olds that their sexual organs can be removed. I urge you to fight. I urge you to speak. God created male and female. And when he did, he said, it is good.
I have a belief that I was formed and created to do a great work, and so were you, Brian.
And the people are so stupid, so brainlessly, idiotically stupid that all of the media is controlled by these Jews. And this is what these stupid scum, who we call people, this is what they've got to start to figure out. Their worst enemy is these satanic liars. They're organized by, dominated by, and led by Jews. They own and control all politicians, judges, this mass of stupid, scummy goons who are going to have to fall by the wayside. They're going to have to be casualties.
Thanks for doing what you do, for giving important information.
Tomorrow is Elvis's 83rd birthday, and because Elvis was Jewish, we're going to have a Jewish theme on this episode. We're going to talk about the protocols of the learned elders of Zion.
What you're about to hear is the most diabolical plot ever uncovered.
This is it. I finally can prove these Jews are really trying to take over the world.
The Protocols of Zion claims to be the minutes of a secret meeting of Jews who were plotting to take over the world.
Thanks for doing what you do, for giving important information.
You look at these homosexuals. I mean, are those human beings? They're addicted to sense gratification, because that's all that homosexuality is. They've lost what it is to be human.
We are in a cultural meltdown war, and people like you and I, we're out there telling the truth.
The Jews, are going to keep their power, and they're going to keep, doing all of these satanic things. Well, we've had these hurricanes, and it's a known fact that they control these hurricanes. They build the hurricanes, they steer them.
The fake moon landing, that was also fake news.
9/11, all those planes, those were fake, Brian.
They were like holographic projections. They didn't actually hit the building.
Thanks for doing what you do, for giving important information. People like you and I, we're out there telling the truth.
Yeah, if I was the learned elders and this came out, I'd be rushing to call him a forgery myself,
Yeah, it says right in here.
Yeah, here's my blueprint. Yeah, here's my blueprint for world domination. And now the whole world knows it. Yeah, I wouldn't own up to it either.
And the people are so stupid, so brainlessly, idiotically stupid. All of the media is controlled by these Jews.
Most of our friends, they don't want to have this dialogue out loud over the airwaves and put on the internet. Oh gosh, no,
There is no lack of freedom for any of you LGBTQ in Canada. There is no lack. Canada is not all about you.
You look at these homosexuals. I mean, are those human beings?
We have to be willing to do it. We're doing that service for other people, and I thank you for what you're doing.
There are stupid Jews, but that's no excuse. There's no good Jew, okay? The only good one is one that isn't around any longer, okay?
Thanks for doing what you do, for giving important information. But I try to do what I feel is right in my heart, not bow to political correctness. Political correctness is killing us. And that's why I love Max Bernier, because he was just so willing to not be politically correct.
Many Canadians are dissatisfied. They believe that the 1% are privileged at the expense of the poor and middle class. But I believe they are wrong when they blame the rich. But I believe they are wrong when they blame the rich. The real culprit is socialism. The defenders of big governments keep saying that we need more government programs to help the poor because they are being treated unfairly. That is completely nonsense. Hundreds of millions of people, the poorest people of the world, have been lifted out of poverty in China in recent decades because they have less government and more freedom. It is not because they have a huge government. It's because they have a government that gives freedom to people.
My next guest is coming up, and his name is Pat King. He's been on the show before, and I love Pat. Pat fights hard.
I have a record the size of my fucking arm. I am not a nice person. You have no idea what's coming. Rubber bullets and pepper spray are fuck all. Wait till the real bullets start flying.
And now they're going to shut down our favorite guys in the land, our truckers. They're the toughest. They're the strongest. They bring us our food. They're out there for hours and weeks on end, missing time with their family.
Okay, so I'm not going to go into this in detail in this short presentation. Suffice it to say, Laura Lynn became a chief propagandist for the trucker convoy. But keep in mind that the convoy represented a maximum of 10% of truckers in Canada. 90% of truckers are vaccinated. And despite what Laura Lynn and Pat are saying here, Trudeau placed no vaccine mandate on Canadian truckers at all. He in fact reaffirmed the right of all Canadians, vaxxed and unvaxxed, to cross into Canada. He just put short isolation and testing requirements on unvaxxed truckers when returning after being gone longer than 3 days. So Laura Lynn and Pat are lying. And here you can see the documentation from the Government of Canada's website. The idea that a vaccine mandate was put upon Canadian truckers is and always was a lie.
To make sure you got your tomatoes and to make sure that you got your meat. And now the government turns against them. Do you know what? They have ticked off every Canadian in this country.
Holy Laura, you're starting to sound like me. I love it. I love it. You're getting excited just like I do.
Trudeau, someone's going to make you catch a bullet one day. To the rest of this government, someone's going to fucking do you in. You sons of bitches.
And that's awesome. And you're
We're
right.
mad.
That's exactly what they did. Shut down Ottawa. You want to get to work? Good luck. Walk.
Guess what? We don't have anything else to do. We don't have jobs anymore.
Okay, so here Laura Lynn claims that we don't have jobs anymore, although this really doesn't apply to her because she's never had a real job in her life. But if we compare, say, the unemployment rate in 2011 under the Harper Conservative government, you will see that the unemployment rate was 7.51%. In 2021, under the Trudeau Liberals, who were affected by a pandemic that decimated economies around the world, the unemployment rate is not much worse. It's 7.72%.
We don't have jobs anymore.
Okay, let's be clear. Laura Lynn has never had a real job in her life. I'm not a big fan of the term, but she is the living embodiment of white privilege. And this pandemic has been a financial boon to her. It is unclear just how much she has made off of the convoy, but we know it's a lot of money. The more angry she is, the more she screams at the camera, the more money she gets. Because she is marketing angry Christians, most of whom have lost nothing, but believe Trudeau is the devil, even though Trudeau did not create the global pandemic. Most Canadians oppose the convoy and its aims. So here's a look at just some of the polls that were conducted. There have been multiple polls and they all pretty much say the same thing. So what do you think the protesters should do? So you can see there that 72% thought they should have gone home right away, and only 22% thought they should have stayed. The next question was, overall, have these protests made you any more likely to support or oppose any of the following? Wearing a mask or vaccine requirements, and you can see that the protests actually made people more likely to support mandates, not less likely, to the tune of 44% in both categories. And here, overall, given what you know about these protests, would you say you support or oppose the protesters' demand to end all pandemic restrictions? Only 22% support, 47% strongly oppose, 17% oppose, with about 1/3 of the population supporting them, which is a sizable number, and that's how they were able to get their crowd so large. But of course, we live in a democracy, and democracy determines how these questions should be settled. We had an election in Canada about 6 months ago, and the current government was put into power. It's a coalition government between the Liberals and the NDP. The Conservatives, of course, don't like that and want to do everything in their power to overturn that.
We don't have jobs anymore. We don't got anywhere better to be than right there where you are. Have y'all lost your ever-loving minds that you would tick off so many Canadians that we're now willing to sacrifice and drive in the snow across the entire country to give you a piece of our minds? Hey, get in your vehicle, beg, borrow, and steal all the money to help you get the gas. Let's go to Ottawa and give them something to think about with what they've done to us.
Oh, Laura, you're fired. I'm loving you right now. I realize that this shit is so far gone that the only way that, and I'm going to say it out loud, the only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets. And yeah, I said it. That's the only way something's going to happen. A massive revolution on a huge scale is the only way you'll ever make a difference on this. You've never seen you vote your way out of, vote your freedoms back. You've never been able to jab your way back. You guys are losing everything. And well, I choose not to lose everything. And if I'm deemed already a domestic terrorist in my own country, well, guess what? I'm going to denounce my own country, and I'm going to call myself for what I am. I am a man.
I've been fired up. Pat, I'm so upset. I'm so upset. You know what, Pat?
And you should be.
Yes, it's the government. They've sold us out. It's our education establishment. It's our mainstream media. It's our medical establishment. They've sold us out. And you know who else has sold us out is the churches. The churches have sold us out. And now we are close to losing our country. What kind of, like, Jesus, he'd turn over the tables. Jesus would walk in and he'd be past turning over the tables. You know, he'd have some kind of, you know, laser thing and he'd just blow up your buildings. He'd be past turning over the tables. You know, he'd have some kind of, you know, laser thing and he'd just blow up your buildings.
Okay, so now we have Laura Lynn implying Jesus would essentially be a terrorist, blowing up churches because they worked with government and health professionals to help control the deadly virus that has killed 1 million people in the United States and Canada. Saving lives is evil and worth blowing up a church? What about Laura Lynn's behavior, which I will document soon, which has been to tell lies and spread disinformation and grotesque exaggerations over and over and over without end on her program? Is that Christian behavior? Leading American writer and intellectual Chris Hedges, who has a master's degree in divinity, once described the evangelical community in the United States as the American Taliban because he felt the leadership was violent at heart and dangerous. I did not believe him when I first heard him say that, but Laura Lynn is certainly playing right into that characterization. For Christians listening, is this rage and portrayal of other Christians as selling their souls simply because they listened to health professionals and scientists and wanted to help protect the community by acknowledging scientists know more than them, and with so many dead it was important to trust them? Was this, as Laura Lynn suggests here, some sort of horrendous crime against God, worthy of having your church blown up, and those that go along with it damned to hell for all of eternity? And what of portraying your Lord and Savior, Jesus, the Prince of Peace, who commanded his followers to love their neighbors, as an angry terrorist blowing up churches because pastors wanted to help save lives? Is this Christian behavior?
What kind of, like, Jesus, he'd turn over the tables. Jesus would walk in and he'd be past turning over the tables. You know, he'd have some kind of, you know, laser thing and he'd just blow up your buildings because you have sold your souls against the people of Canada. I think they've accepted bribes. I believe that the churches have accepted money for this. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know they did.
Let me tell you something. We have a Bill of Rights and we have a Charter of Rights, and they become virtually meaningless because of our establishment, because of our churches, because of our medical tyrannical nut jobs who've received money instead of standing up for our country. And I was reading the Canadian Bill of Rights. Let me tell you something. This is super cool. I got to get my glasses on because I'm so fired up I can't even see straight. Okay, so it says, the Parliament of Canada, affirming that the Canadian nation is founded upon principles that acknowledge the supremacy of God. When our former guest says this is a coup d'etat against God, that's what this is. We gotta fight. This is it, guys. It's do or die.
It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race, or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race. Because they are the ones with the strongest bloodline. If you want to flip the tide on this, Join us in doing. Take 1 million people to Ottawa, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million people, and stand there and don't move until they make a change. We are not moving, ladies and gentlemen.
I have a record the size of my fucking arm. I am not a nice person. You have no idea what's coming. Rubber bullets and pepper spray or fuck all. Wait till the real bullets start flying.
Did you hear that? A coup d'etat against God. It's time to fight, everybody.
Trudeau, someone's gonna make you catch a bullet one day. To the rest of this government, someone's gonna fucking do yous in. You sons of bitches.
And I'm going to film it. You're right, cops will get shot. What about this? How many people are going to be out patrolling to rat on their fucking neighbors on Christmas? Those people need to be shot.
This mass of stupid, scummy goons who are going to have to fall by the wayside. They're going to have to be casualties.
To anybody out there who's going to go and say, hey, my neighbors have more than 5 people at their house during Christmas, you got to come and arrest them. That fucking neighbor's going to have their house burnt down.
And this is a coup d'etat against God and our country and the sovereignty of God in this land. And we have freaks that are now in power.
That fucking neighbor's going to have their house burnt down.
Freaks that are now in power in our country, and it is time to take back Canada.
You have no idea what's coming. Rubber bullets and pepper spray or fuck all. Wait till the real bullets start flying.
Stop whatever you're doing. It's time to fight.
The only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets. And yeah, I said it. That's the only way something's going to happen.
Thank you, brother, for being here. Thank you for your beautiful words.
I have a record the size of my fucking arm. I am not a nice person.
Trudeau, someone's gonna make you catch a bullet one day.
Those people need to be shot. That fucking neighbor's gonna have their house burnt down.
Thank you for your beautiful words, for your heart, for your love of Canada. Thank you for being a wonderful patriot.
The only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets. A massive revolution on a huge scale. And I'm telling you right now, if there's a roadblock, we're running it. You're not stopping us. If I'm deemed already a domestic terrorist in my own country, well, guess what? I'm going to denounce my own country.
To the rest of this government, someone's going to fucking do yous in. You sons of bitches.
Thank you for being a wonderful patriot in this nation. And I'm so blessed to know you, Pat. And I appreciate everything that you've said.
Unless you want to change your national language to Chinese or Mandarin or Hebrew.
There's no good Jew.
Or Hebrew. You might want to change your name to Ishmael. Or drop a bunch of change down the stairs and call yourself Chong Ching Ching Chang. Now, what it is the part of the depopulation. And a lot of people don't understand what that means. And what there is there's an end game. It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race. Because they are the ones with the strongest bloodlines. And we'll leave it at that because then we get into a whole different topic. But it's a depopulation of race. Okay, that's what they want to do. That's right, Al. I've seen the mosque up in Fort Mac. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being overrun. The Anglo-Saxon people of Canada are our God-given culture. The Anglo-Saxon and the Francophones. We are losing our culture to other ethnic religions. This is not racism. This is genocide of a culture.
Every person who was born here in Canada, in North America, you are indigenous. People don't realize that. If you were born of the land, you are indigenous of the land.
The natives' culture is a disgrace. It is 100%. So now I want to bring in some of the stuff that they've done. They've brought in, they're permitted into Canada.
They've basically taken over the trucking industry. They've basically inundated Canadian citizens to join their religion. We cannot become Sikh. I'll just tell you that much. We cannot become Sikh. I'll just tell you that much. But at the same time, they look down on us. They control our construction. And when it comes to the trucking industry, we see incident after incident after incident. And this seems to be the ethnicity of choice. Not of choice, but of statistics that are having this. They're taking over housing too.
What you're doing. I'll see you on the road, and I'll see you in Ottawa on January 29th.
And I'm telling you right now, if there's a roadblock, we're running it. You're not stopping us.
This is live. That is Pat King. How you doing?
Just this is Canadiana right here, especially Alberta, Western Canadiana.
100%.
And
Let's go,
from
Brandon!
growing up in Medicine Hat.
Yeah,
Let's
have you?
go,
Brandon!
Absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely what I respect from my hometown.
Now, is this?
Thank God for Trump. Thank God for that man who stands up.
Thanks God for President Trump.
I
agree.
love him. I love
too.
his position. So powerful. And I just support him 100%. And I really pray that Canada finds that person. I pray it's Maxime Bernier.
We need a Canadian Trump. We need one desperately. All about you, Laura Lynn. Thank you kindly for being a Brian Ruth show.
Thank you. It's been awesome.
They're coming after all of us, you guys. They maybe just thought that we wouldn't be ready to fight when we needed to, but you're talking about Canadians, and you don't mess with Canadians. We eat back bacon, okay? We eat back bacon, okay?
Yeah.